Barrister Dr. Chris Ibokwe. And the bursar of our university, Dr. Jude Ede. The university librarian, Dr. Promise Ifoma Ilo. I'll go back a little bit because our Vice Chancellor may direct that my lunch be denied because I recognize the Vice Chancellor without his amiable wife who has accompanied him to this event. Please, let's appreciate Dr. Mrs. Igwe here with us with our Vice Chancellor. You're welcome, ma'am. If you were proposing one meat for me, please make it two now. We also recognize the president worldwide of the University of Nigeria Alumni Association, Sir Ben Okoronkwo. We're here in our numbers, members of the University of Nigeria Governing Council, and we're happy they're making their first joint appearance before us here at the Princess Alexandra Auditorium, not in any particular order. His Excellency, Ambassador Sani Baku, MFR, MNI, Member Governing Council, Professor Fidelis Ayase, a council member, Barrister Ibrahim Zailani, and our council member, Finba Ike Emogu. Dr. Aaron Adibe Abo is a member of our governing council. We also have Professor Lawrence Ezanyika, member, Governing Council. Professor Obinna Onwujekwe, member, Governing Council. Professor Joshua Umifekwem, member, Governing Council. Also our Ms. Bearer. We also have Samuel Tangi, member, Governing Council, University of Nigeria. We also have members of the immediate past council here with us, and we acknowledge them alongside all the professors of this university in attendance. We have a very special guest, and I want to recognize her in a very special way. First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria at inception, an emeritus professor, wife to our founding father, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a distinguished emeritus professor here with us, Professor Uche Azikiwe. And we have another council member for recognition, Mrs. Halima, member of our governing council. You're welcome, ma'am. We recognize all the professors, as I indicated earlier, who are present with us at this very historic event. And I'd like to present us with the chairman of today's occasion, who will superintend the affairs that we're going to hold in this PAA. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's give it all up for Brigadier General J.O.J. Okolago, retired. Aqua Akuluwa of UK. Are you clapping for chairman or for me? And now to the big one. We want to acknowledge with a sounding ovation our guest lecturer who's made it over the hills, over land, all through all weather to be here to make the presentation today. And before I call him up, we would note that the other council members as witnesses here with us. Professor Kenneth Afokansi, we appreciate your presence. Please appreciate him. And Professor Mrs. Odogi, also here with us. I would like at this point in time to welcome our guest lecturer, a man of many parts, an astute politician, successful career exploit, a seasoned administrator, the love of the masses. A lion in all ramifications. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Udom Emmanuel. Time is fast spent. I'll bounce back to interject the proceedings with more recognitions. But please, if you haven't heard your name, give yourself a round of applause here. You're very welcome. Professor Wangoma, please.
Thank you so very much. As you would expect, it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Raphael Edem, who is the SPA Public Affairs to the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, to introduce our friends from Akwa Ibom.
Thank you very much, Prof. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency, the guest lecturer at these Founders Day event has already been presented to us. And of course, he did not come here alone. He came with some very senior and some very important members of the government of Akwa Ibom State. And I will crave your indulgence, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, that we kindly make welcome these gentlemen whom I will introduce. The first is a gentleman who knows this particular institution almost like the back of his hand, because he is a lion himself. Nigeria's former ambassador to Russia, ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency, Chief Assam, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Please put your hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. The reason you would know he's a lion, he's the only one in that delegation who could sing that university song when it was being played. Let me acknowledge also the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Akwa Ibom State who has come. Another senior advocate, Udom Emmanuel. Please put your hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen. The chairman of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly Committee on Education is also here. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome the Right Honorable Goodwill. Please put your hands together for him. Seated to his immediate right, the Honorable Commissioner in charge of the Ministry of Information and Strategy, Comrade Ini Ememobong. Please put your hands together for him. That gentleman is a former president of NANS, so I'm sure a good number of the students already know the name of the Comrade Commissioner. The chairman of the Uyo Capital City Development Authority in Akwa Ibom State, Prince Enobongowa, is also part of that delegation. Please put your hands together for him. Let me acknowledge the presence of the Commissioner in charge of the Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs in Akwa Ibom State, Honorable Frank Achibong. Please put your hands together for him. We acknowledge the presence of another member of our team, himself a Lion, a former Director of Press Affairs in the government of Akwa Ibom State, Dr. Udom Emmanuel, who is here. Please put your hands together for him. There are a host of other members of staff of the Office of the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, senior special assistants that have come. But because of the brevity of the introductions, we would kindly request that all of us agree to fall under the broad umbrella of distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, when we were walking in here, a good number of people greeted us in a language that we understand. So I'm sure that we have a good number of Akwa Ibomites who are here. Akwa Ibom is Songa. Akwa Ibom is Songa. Please put your hands together for yourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. That was brilliant. You really did make His Excellency feel a lot more at home, the same way he made us feel when we visited. We'll take a short video trailer. As you can imagine, we're discussing the history of the University of Nigeria. And, you know, this video trailer, we should take a minute, should ideally tell the story of the University of Nigeria. Ambition, if you're ready, let's watch it. Ambition, this screen didn't show. The Vice Chancellor didn't see the video trailer, and the guest lecturer didn't see it. The chairman didn't see it. Can we take it again? If you're sure it will show this time. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much. At this point, it's my pleasure, great pleasure indeed, to invite for his opening remarks the chairman, Brigadier General J.O.J. Okeze, a Lion of the class of 1981. The chairman, sir. Did I get it wrong? J.O.J. Okolago, oh, did I get it wrong? Sir, the microphone, sir, I apologize. The Akwa of Ukehe.
I'm laughing because Okeze, actually a great son of Igbo land. I wish him well. But I'm not Okeze, I'm Okolago. By way of protocol, Chancellor, ably represented here. The Pro-Chancellor, High Chief Emenike Ikechi, I salute you. The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Charles Igwe, Your Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, I can see the love exuding from the audience. And of course, it's evidence of your work because I think he's creating jobs for the youths. And that's why I think he was appropriately chosen to talk to us today. Your Excellency, you are welcome. Deputy Vice Chancellor. I'm not going to go on any order. I must recognize Her Excellency, the first lady, very, very, very first lady of Nigeria, in the person of Professor Uche Azikiwe. Since I'm not seized of the various identities, may I just simply recognize the presence of the comrades here. I heard somebody called comrade, because you guys, we have to manage you well, and you manage us well too. The press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the audience. I haven't said that. I think I can put on my headgear now. A cap, please. But we say headgear. I still haven't lost my, or left my language or culture. We call it headgear, not cap. But now that I've put on my cap, I want to stand on existing protocols to welcome everybody who has turned out here today for this unique occasion. But I want to thank particularly Professor Charles Igwe for finding me a person fit and proper to come and chair this august occasion, where I even have state governor, a performing governor for that matter. I give it to him. I take advantage of my opening remarks to recognize His Excellency Ambassador Assam. Where is he? You are down there? Because he happens to be the only student I could recognize at my time who is presently here now. Your Excellency, you are welcome. We both went through the Faculty of Law and belong to the, what, I don't know, I hope the Beta Sigma fraternity still existed. Yeah, but the sword they used today was my sword, the sword I won in drill, and I donated it to them as a Sigmite. I salute them. Because the day is gone, I'm not going to waste your time for long speeches. But suffice it to say that everybody here is highly welcome and recognized. But I must take the opportunity not just to appreciate the Vice Chancellor, but to say that coming back here 40 years after I've left the university, because those who knew me then knew me as Captain J.O.J., infantry. But I'm now general retired, still infantry though, but a lawyer. I looked forward to seeing so many sons. I didn't see them, but I know a couple of sons. Okay, it's tomorrow. Okay. So those of them whom, but be that as it may, I think the professor managing the university now, Professor Igwe, has done very well to assemble this caliber of audience and guest lecturers, personalities, let me put it that way. I want to say that maybe even during my closing remarks, I may have to tell the university what I intend to do in my own personal capacity. But let me take the liberty right now to announce that the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, where I am a member of the governing board, the board of directors, not the governing council, because it's not any institution, has a plan to do an endowment of professorial chair for the university, so that, and I am going to really pray and work hard that the chairman of my board, who herself is a lawyer, will see through during the tenancy of our own administration, in close cooperation with the managing director whom I reached out to. I couldn't get my chairman, but somehow I have the mandate to make that announcement. And again, let me correct the impression, because there was a publication sometimes, and this is an opportunity to erase it, that NDIC was giving 1,000 naira to bear whatever urinating. We're still in correspondence with the university, but we've not been able to get the facts right. But I can assure you that the NDIC, if indeed it did so at a time when 1,000 naira was money. Because I'm not shy to say it, but as a second lieutenant in this country, I earned 150 naira. And even my car loan was 2,400, which bought me a car. And I said building my first house. That was the value. So if don't ridicule the 1,000 naira, it was worthwhile when it was announced. But once it's sorted out, the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation will definitely give a prize befitting of both the corporation and the institution, which is my alma mater. I want to stop here for now and pray that you have good appetite to listen to the performing governor of Akwa Ibom State, His Excellency Udom Emmanuel. I'm not giving him the microphone because the MC, let me also take the liberty that you run the program, you run this thing according to the program. So whoever is going to speak next, you may not necessarily have to get my permission so that it can flow. I welcome everybody.
Thank you so very much, Chairman. And next, we'll take the address by the host, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Nigeria, Professor Charles Arizechukwu-Igwe, FAS.
Your Excellency, Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, here present, the representative of the Chancellor of the University of Nigeria, the Oni of Ife, the Chairman of the Governing Council, University of Nigeria, here present, principal officers of the university, council members, the widow of the first president and the founding father of this university, Emeritus Professor Uche Azikiwe. I call her Oweleres. My own wife and my better half, Dr. Mrs. Ngozi Igwe. The chairman of this occasion, the People's General, General J.O.J. Okolago, members of the Akwa Ibom Executive Council here present, members of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly here present, my own president, the president of UNA, University of Nigeria Alumni Association, my Lord Bishop, the Anglican Bishop of Nsukka Diocese, the Right Reverend Aloysius E. Abu. Ndị igwe, ojoko, mkposhi, ndị nze na ọzọ, distinguished guests, members of the fourth estate of the realm, ladies and gentlemen, lions and lionesses. Lions and lionesses. On behalf of the management, staff, and students of the University of Nigeria, I am delighted to welcome you all to this very happy occasion of the 61st Founders Day celebration of our great university. I have reserved the warmest welcome for our guest lecturer, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, His Excellency Mr. Udom Emmanuel, and his entourage, who are visiting our university for the very first time. His Excellency, your presence here today has added both color and candor to our celebration, and we are grateful that you could choose to be here today over and above all other competing engagements. I heard from the grapevine that you were supposed to be even with your alma mater for some other function, but you decided to be here. In the same way, I welcome also very warmly the chairman of today's lecture, General J.O.J. Okolago, retired, who is returning home officially to his alma mater since graduation. Welcome to the den. I am also delighted to welcome our own Pro-Chancellor, High Chief Ikechi Emenike, and other members of the newly inaugurated Governing Council of the University of Nigeria, who are taking part in our Founders Day celebration for the very first time. I welcome also our alumni and other friends of the university who have honored our invitation today. As you may already know, the Founders Day celebrations are intended to celebrate the founding fathers of our university, which was established on the eve of Nigeria's independence anniversary in October 1960. The Founders Day lecture is therefore the most enduring and the most prestigious of the public lectures organized by the university. And this explains why the honor to deliver the lecture is reserved for men and women of great accomplishments, especially people whose achievements can inspire and motivate the university community. I am proud, therefore, that we are able to attract an accomplished professional and political leader in the person of His Excellency, Governor Udom Emmanuel, to present the 61st Founders Day lecture of the university. In Governor Udom, we have a seasoned professional and a renowned manager of human and material resources. His Excellency, the story of the transformation of Akwa Ibom State under your watch is an inspiring one. Your mantra of changing the narrative resonates well with many Nigerians who believe we can still achieve the great potentials inherent in this great country of over 200 million people. I have no doubt that it was this same conviction that drove the founding fathers of our university, the great Zik of Africa, and your kinsman, Chief Ibanga Babio, to make a convincing case for the establishment of this university in May 1955. As an optimist, I have no doubt that your lecture will leave us inspired and motivated to continue to work towards the country of our dream. In addition, I'm also sure the lecture will reveal why you are highly sought after as a great lecturer in the country. In our chairman, we have a lawyer, an army general, and you can see that the way he takes his salute. They say, "Oh, soldiers." He's a senior citizen, a great lion, and a proud alumnus of the class of 1981, who has also accomplished great things in his career. General Okolago, who retired from the Nigerian military as a brigadier general in 2002, is a member of the board of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, and a member of the board of trustees of the All Progressive Congress, APC. Today, General J.O.J., as he is fondly called, has returned to his alma mater after 4 decades to chair the 61st Founders Day lecture of our university. I thank him most profoundly for accepting to make the long trip from Abuja just to chair the lecture at such a short notice. As the Vice Chancellor of this great university, the cradle of university education in the country, I am proud to have sustained this tradition of organizing and hosting the annual Founders Day lecture of the university. Such events are important as they offer us a chance to celebrate our founding fathers and to reflect on our achievements over the years. Only then can we truly sing that the labors of our heroes past shall never be in vain. Finally, I thank all our guests, friends, and alumni for coming to celebrate with us. I wish you all a great experience in Nsukka and assure you of the traditional hospitality of our university. Thank you, Professor Charles Arize Chukwuigwe, Vice Chancellor and Fellow of Academy of Sciences.
Thank you so very much, sir. Another ovation for the Vice Chancellor. And next, we'll take the citation on the 61st Founders Day lecturer. And to read the citation and introduce formally the 61st Founders Day lecturer of the University of Nigeria is the University orator, Dr. Ikenna Onwebuna. The citation on the 61st Founders Day lecturer. Please.
Members of the high tables, ladies and gentlemen, lions and lionesses, permit me to rest on protocol already established to read the citation of His Excellency, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, the 61st Founders Day lecturer of the University of Nigeria. The life of the distinguished lecturer of the 61st Founders Day anniversary of the University of Nigeria fits snugly into the cocoon contrived by Helen Keller, thus: success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And has His Excellency Mr. Udom Emmanuel demonstrated that courage to continue? Wait for it. Governor Udom Emmanuel was educated at the University of Lagos, from where he earned a second-class upper honors degree in accounting. He went on to take a master's degree in corporate governance from Leeds Metropolitan University in the United Kingdom. This made him one of the few experts in the field of corporate governance. I thought that should excite you. Mr. Udom Emmanuel, the two-term governor of Akwa Ibom State, delights in addressing himself as a professional in politics, as opposed to a professional politician. This is because he was already a renowned technocrat who had risen to the exalted position of an executive director at Zenith Bank PLC before making the equally successful foray into public service. In addition to his degrees, Governor Emmanuel attended several executive management and professional programs in different parts of the world. These include the Advanced Management Program, AMP, at ICED, France, the Advanced Leadership Management Program at London Business School, and the Change in the Game Negotiation and Competitive Decision-Making at the Harvard Business School, United States of America. Others are the Enterprise Risk Management at Base 11 at Dawn and Bradstreet, the Executive Leadership Program at Columbia Business School, New York, United States of America, and the Strategic Thinking and Management of Competitive Advantage at Wharton Business School, Pennsylvania, United States of America. At Zenith Bank, Mr. Emmanuel was the executive director with direct supervision on corporate strategy and planning, corporate financial advisory services and control, business development, international investors relations, oil and gas sector, infrastructure and power sector, multilaterals, conglomerates, and private banking, MCP, as well as telecommunications sector. Before he was elevated to the position of an executive director at Zenith Bank, Mr. Udom Emmanuel had held many non-executive directorship positions. He was at various times at the helm of the affairs of Zenith Bank, United Kingdom Limited, Zenith Bank, the Gambia, and Zenith Bank, Sierra Leone. He also headed other subsidiaries of the bank, namely Zenith Insurance, Zenith Pension and Custodian, Zenith Securities, Zenith Trustees, and Zenith Registrars. Governor Emmanuel also served as a non-executive director, African Finance Corporation, AFC, and at the Nigerian Interbank Settlement Systems, NIBS. Governor Udom is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, a fellow of the Institute of Financial Management, as well as an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. Udom's foray into public service began in July 2013 when he was appointed the Secretary to the Government of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria, SSG. A position in which he exceeded the expectations of his employers. Following a successful election and a landslide victory, Mr. Udom Emmanuel emerged the governor of Akwa Ibom State on April 11, 2015. He was re-elected for a second term in April 2019. In addition to his many achievements in terms of infrastructural development and industrialization, Governor Udom Emmanuel is driving a mindset change in Akwa Ibom State. He has brought his can-do spirit to the state, where he is changing his people to arise, or Dakada in vernacular, and claim the greatness, drive, and to develop a new approach to doing things. This spiritual and moral rebirth has been happily internalized by the people of the state and has yielded many results. The chairman, our guest lecturer, is an award-winning governor. He was voted the most outstanding governor in the current political dispensation by the Nation newspaper, a major newspaper that is owned by the national leader of the APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He was also named the governor of the year 2016 by the leadership newspaper. And the icing on the cake was the Integrity and National Service Award bestowed on him by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. Governor Emmanuel also made a name for himself as a financial consultant, a highly sought-after public speaker, a philanthropist, and a worker in the Lord's vineyard. Governor Emmanuel is happily married to his beautiful wife, Her Excellency Martha, and is blessed with children. He hails from Awaiman in Ona local government area of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. As though taking the counsel of Richard Height, embrace the present moment fully and with passion, because only through the present moment do we truly live. Today, we are poised to partake of the wisdom of our compassionate compatriot, an indefatigable leader, an open and transparent administrator, an exemplary executive, a professional in politics, a many-sided technocrat, a highly creative corporate titan, and a loving husband and father. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, and Mr. Chairman, sir, to present the 61st Founders Day lecture of the University of Nigeria, I present to you, ladies and gentlemen, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria, His Excellency, Mr. Emmanuel Gabriel Udom.
Please shall we be seated. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, I want to thank the university orator that all those ones he is saying. The most important thing is that we are serving the people. The chairman of this great occasion, the People's General, Brigadier General J.O.J. Okoloagu, the chancellor of this great institution represented by Professor Ojuade, the Oni of Ife, being ably represented, our pro-chancellor, High Chief Ikechi Emenike, our chief host and his dear wife, the chief executive of this great institution, the vice chancellor, Professor Charles Igwe and his dear wife, deputy vice chancellor admin, the spouse of the founder of this great institution. Let me join the vice chancellor to call her Uweleres, the professor emeritus, Uche Azikiwe, the registrar, the librarian, other council members here present, the members of my entourage, my Attorney General, His Excellency, the former ambassador, Nigeria's ambassador to Russia, members of the Executive Council of Akwa Ibom State Government, those that make things happen, the senior special assistants, and the main people behind the governance. The international president of UNN Association, Sir Ben Okoronkwo, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, lions and lionesses, great Akokite. None is here? Oh my God, I can't be here alone. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Greatest Nigerian students. Today, the lecture is on a very familiar theme, changing the narrative of development in this country through industrialization and infrastructure. And I'm going to draw a whole lot of examples, analogy to things that we see. And permit me also, if I mention places like America, why would I mention America? Number one, because we copy or we adapted, let me put it that way, the presidential system of governance from them. So we have almost the same structure. So, and I'm also one person, I compare with the best. I don't compare with the mediocres. So I compare with the best. And so permit me if I do that. And at the same time, I'll speak, you can see I came with the chairman of my State House of Assembly on education. So that if I speak well, it will add more to my budget for 2022 for education. Let me also probably say this to those probably who are holding the paper and presenting. On page 1, I noticed, I think on page 6 or so, I noticed a minor typographical error. On page 6, instead of on that paragraph that starts for different societies, on the last line, you see the are written twice. We are expected. No, not at all. That's the printer's devil, if we've seen one before. Then if you also get down to, I think, page 13, page 14, where you have water is a cleansing agent, that paragraph. If you move around that area, come down to where I said they should be involved in politics. That is why I am in politics. I said politics is too serious a business. I think they omitted are there. Then if we come to the very last but one paragraph, you see there where we say we can also restore. I think there's a printer's devil there. It's we can jointly restore. We can jointly restore, because not also restore. I made a bold to say that people will be wondering, why did I choose to talk on industrialization and infrastructure? It's because I have a passion for it. And also, I get so challenged. The first industrial revolution came and left.
Africa did not participate. So many things came and left. Africa were all left out. And even sitting back as a person, as a governor, so many other things happening around. And it seems as if we didn't want to participate. In this lecture today, you see how we launched in and how we also participated. One of such examples I'll give during my lecture is when we looked at the airspace. The whole country, Nigeria, no national colors. Ghana, our neighbor, no national colors. We said those who are flying the colors, do they have two heads? A state can create, can do something much better. And we launched something out. You get to know along this paper. But first of all, let me start by thanking the Governing Council, the Senate, management, staff, students, and the entire academic community of this great institution for your kind invitation for me to come and join you in the celebration of your Founders' Day. I don't take this for granted. Thank you again for the added honor of asking me to address this yearly lecture, an event that has attracted other personages and eminent Nigerians across professional and social lines who had mounted this podium and addressed you on issues that are germane to the acceleration of our national development and an extension of the frontiers of our national discourse as a people. I bring you greetings from the good people of Akwa Ibom State, the land of promise and God's own piece of real estate. The founding of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, has a profound connection with Akwa Ibom State. It was the late Udom Emmanuel, a son of Akwa Ibom State, who in 1955 first moved a motion for the founding of this great institution. And the motion was seconded by the late great Zik of Africa, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, who eventually expedited the process for its establishment and the intellectual rebirth. So we can see the symmetry of impulse between this land of knowledge and the land of promise called Akwa Ibom. There's that symmetry of that impulse. So since its founding 61 years ago, this great citadel of knowledge has produced and helped shape some of the best and brightest minds in this country, and some even outside this country, because it got to a time where in Nigerian universities, a whole lot of proportion or high percentage of students were not from this country. They were all over, from other parts of this continent, even some outside the continent of Africa. From thinkers to doers, and some of the most impactful technocrats from our state are all from here, thus cementing further the bond of friendship forged through intellectual flourishes and commonalities of thoughts and beliefs. Just about 2 weeks ago, we celebrated the 34th anniversary of the creation of our state, Akwa Ibom State. And we thank God for lifting us from the abyss of underdevelopment to our current status as the destination of choice for investors, for tourists, and the preferred location for seminars, conferences, and retreats. The University of Nigeria, Nsukka, prides itself as the cradle of intellectualism in Nigeria, just as Akwa Ibom State considers itself as the crucible of the new Nigeria. This is not an idle boast. Just a week and a half ago, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, SANGCON, while commissioning what I call our 21-story smart intelligent building, the tallest and smartest in the southeast of this country, and the 7th tallest in Nigeria, described Akwa Ibom State as the emerging industrial hub of this nation, Nigeria. Similar sentiments had earlier been expressed by former U.S. Ambassador Terence McCauley, who, while on a visit to our state, said, "I am here in Akwa Ibom for the first time, but I have to say that the future of Nigeria is in Akwa Ibom State," unquote.
It was this testimony of a witness. So for those who are fond of symbols, today's event is an intersection where the inspirational history of UNN and the enchanting history of Akwa Ibom come together in a symphony of songs rendered through infrastructural renaissance and industrialization. I would say we are gathered here today to pay tribute to a genius, because a lot of people might forget, why are we here? To pay tribute to a genius, celebrate patriotism, and feel the warmth of an African legend, icon, and statesman whose name will forever be embalmed in the sacred monument of our country and stenciled in the tablets of our history as the founder of this institution. I'm happy the wife is here. With this great institution, the most enduring shadow of his legend, the late Dr. Nnamdi Benjamin Azikiwe, still casts a paternal light over all of us in this country. This father of our nation, whose influence transcended national boundaries, came to be known as the Zik of Africa, not even the Zik of Nigeria, the Zik of Africa. He broke out of the Nigerian mold and wrote his name in global folklore and legends. His shadow still hangs over this great institution like a giant, golden, welcoming statue. The Statue of Liberty that I always see, say the one in New York, has a towering image of a woman holding aloft a lamp with an inscription: "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to break free, the wretched refuse, your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." Unquote. The University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Nigeria's first indigenous and the only university of Nigeria, was also conceived as an institution where all Nigerians in particular and the world in general, the tired and the strong, the poor and the rich, the tempest-tossed and the huddled masses, yearning to breathe the freedom of education, could enter through its golden gates of knowledge. The university does not only hold aloft the hope of Nigeria, it has a symbolic relationship with our country, Nigeria. This institution, that's the UNN, is the only university which bears Nigeria's name, and the only university which was opened as part of the celebration of Nigeria's independence by Our Royal Highness, Princess Alexandra Kent, on October 7, 1960. The alumni of this institution sometimes use a car sticker. I normally see you people on the road with the legend: "An alumnus of UNN is ahead of you, naturally." But when I see you, I don't envy you. I only see it and read and pass. Today, you need to move from being ahead naturally to being ahead nationally. You want to be ahead as an institution in solving the many complex and intricate problems that beset and threaten this nation, Nigeria. We want UNN to remain the intellectual bastion of hope in a nation trapped in the cobweb of fear and despair, insecurity, ethno-religious crisis, political fault lines that appear to be widening, while unity and brotherhood that the late Zik preached until he breathed his last, today hang precariously and perilously on a thread. We desire UNN to continue to be the vanguard, to deepen our national unity, to live together as brothers and sisters, or as Martin Luther King Jr. said, perish together as fools. This great university was founded on hope of an enduring and vibrant Nigerian state, a nation that would distill and appropriate the best from within our bowels and use the manpower to develop our nation, expand opportunities, and help project our then nascent republic as the hope of the Africa and indeed the black race. The towering symbol of this great institution was a nationalistic par excellence. It was not defined by the forces of geography, in his decision-making process. Neither was he propelled by the limiting impulses of parochialism. His was a life shaped and defined by patriotic instincts. They need to build and forge a nation based on equality of opportunities, where our diversity would and should be source of our strength, rather than wedges of division and attrition, the way we are seeing it today. I'm sure what is happening today in our nation will shock and deeply despair the ennobling spirit of nationalism that the late Zik lived for. As despairing as things are in our nation today, we cannot live up on Nigeria. The late Zik himself did not give up on Nigeria, even when he could have. If he had fallen for the rabid fight for regional supremacy over the forces of nationhood, which he championed, possibly the Nigeria we have come to know today may not have existed. So we owe him our collective debt of gratitude. Permit me to pay special tribute to many inspirational achievements of this great institution. In 1974, a team in this university led by Professor Mahdi Yakub from the United Kingdom, Professor F.A. Udeku, and Professor Anyanwu performed the first open-heart surgical operation in sub-Saharan Africa. This I call a monumental feat. Unfortunately, 46 years after this monumental achievement, our nation is still lagging behind in development, industrialization, and infrastructure. 46 years after, medical tourism still drains our country. The medical personnel flee to foreign countries in search of the golden fleece. 46 years after, our nation still grapples with decayed medical infrastructure. 46 years after, our nation is desperately sick and in need of rescue operations to rid of insecurity, of strife, of corruption, nepotism, ethno-religious tension, and zero-sum game machinations, and all many more. The topic of this lecture excites me a whole lot, changing the narrative of development through infrastructure and industrialization. Since this lecture is not meant for an economic journal, and I certainly have no interest in publishing it in SEM. So please, the academias, permit me. It's not going to be a journal. I seek your understanding if certain conventions or protocols that guide academic papers are not observed. You know I'm a politician. Most so, I intend to speak from my heart. And when you speak from your heart, you do not mind conventions. This is a little bit like asking a pop music artist to come and deliver a lecture to classical musicians. The essence of his music lies in its rhythm, pathos, and passion, while the essence of the classical musician lies in structure and form. Most so, take this as the voice of the one crying in the wilderness. I quote this from the Bible, which says, "Prepare ye the way of the Lord. Make straight in the desert a highway of our God. Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places plain, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed. And all Nigerians shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken." I unquote. A cry, if I take from that Bible portion, a cry has no form and no structure. Otherwise, it is not a cry. But it is not only a lament, but an effort in hope. A cry is meaningless as an end in itself. We cry, but we see through the mist of our tears while we chart a path forward as a country. There are so many definitions of development because the term is complex and ambiguous. And its meaning can vary depending on the context of its usage. But when you break the term down, it all comes down to bringing about social and structural changes for the empowerment of the people. It's as simple as that. I identify with the view of Amartya Sen, economist and Nobel laureate, who posited that development is about well-being. The human being, the father, the son, the daughter, the mother, the farmer, or the student is the sum of all government's activity, nothing more than that. In the 80s, Nobel laureate Sen confounded the traditional welfare economics idea that incomes should be the main measure of well-being. It was his view that poverty was the result of a wide range of deprivations in the standard of living, health, education, and others, not income alone. His research on the approach to understanding well-being led to the introduction of the Human Development Index and the Multidimensional Poverty Index by the United Nations. He further expanded the frontiers of his intellectual dialectics in 1999 with an argument that freedoms should also be considered not only as a means but an end in development. Analyzing Sen's argument, Owen Bader, a former vice president of the European Center for Global Development, agrees that development must be judged by its impact on people, not only on changes in their income. So if we all claim we have had so much development, what's the impact on the people, not just the income? It must be judged on issues like choices, like capabilities and freedoms. We must be interested in the distribution of these improvements, not just the simple average for society. Consequently, we must see development as a process that raises the question of who has the power to implement the process and who will benefit from the process. Therefore, to simply see development as an improvement in people's welfare and well-being falls short of this mark completely. Development should be about lasting change, not only shouting change, but lasting change. It should be about creating change, not managing change. Development should not only be about improvement in welfare of citizens, but the capacity of the government to provide the environment for the welfare and well-being of the people on a sustainable and long-term basis. For different societies, the goal of sustainability varies. What United States needs at this time may not cohere with Japan or India. So what Akwa Ibom needs may not be the same with Enugu State or Lagos State. But the central to any of these is the drive to provide infrastructure and industrialize. I think that's where we begin to solve our problems. Even advanced societies still invest in upgrading, providing more infrastructure for their people. As we speak now, the United States is planning to spend over $3 trillion, I'm sure you can read that all over the news, to revamp its infrastructure. You now imagine, how can United States that you seems everywhere is like, but they are just proposing infrastructure revamp budget of $3 trillion. If a country as advanced as they are is doing this, then we are expected to even do more in this regard as Nigeria. Making development sustainable and lasting comes through industrialization and the provision of infrastructure. Industrialization is that process of transforming an agrarian society to an industrial society. And for those who are following, probably my presentations of recent, I said that there are three major gateways to industrialization. Three major gateways that are very simple. We can't industrialize as a nation when we don't have the road network, when our airspace is not being fully utilized, or our shorelines are just made to waste. In that case, we cannot achieve it. The process involves a replacement of so much, human effort, movement, with something a little bit more mechanized. The modern guys will tell you is ICT, Information, Communication and Technology Management. Replacement of mass production of craftsmen with assembly lines. Come to think of it, how many do we have? And do you know where a country is falling short? Today, I made this example when I was opportune to speak at the Leadership Award presentation in Abuja. I said, how do we judge our country? A country where the number of jeeps, 4x4 vehicles, are more than the number of tractors in the farm. It means we have a problem. Because the number of jeeps you see on the road, in Abuja, in Lagos, everywhere, in Enugu, is more than the number of tractors that we have in the farm. And meanwhile, we have 200 million people. Then we have a problem. ever since the Industrial Revolution of 1760 and 1820 led to the transition from hand production methods to mechanical and chemical manufacturing, and the rise of mechanized factory systems. Different countries and societies have seen the need to embark on such transitions in order to boost development and economic growth, but we are not there yet. SARS and MAS, let me remind you, when we were much younger in school, we were going to school in playtime, Cortina, and they were all made by either Bata or Leonard. When we were much younger, when they buy something, only two questions will come up. Is it a bar made or made in Taiwan? Those people who we were just saying made in Taiwan, they sustained, they continued, they helped from their domestic economy, managed to meet domestic consumption. They grew, became export giants. Our barmaid disappeared. I don't know how many things now. It's only the present governor that are trying to bring up proudly Aba or proudly Abia, trying to bring back even what we are making, some dresses and so on. But it wasn't like that. That's why you could see a whole lot of factories. Even the multinationals that came to Nigeria at that time, the Lever Brothers, the Unilever, all of them, John Holt, all of them had zonal offices in Aba. So the question there is, where did it vanish into? According to Professor Erika Erasure, a business and finance expert, the European and United States government initially used what we call mercantilist and protectionist government policies to foster the growth of industrialization. Both deployed more laissez-faire or free market approach, later to open markets to the export of industrial output. It is the duty of every responsible government to create the requisite environment for industrialization to thrive. Richard Branson, the English business mogul who founded the Virgin Group, which runs over 400 companies now, says that government and business must come together on the interlinked issues of conservation, economic development, and renewable energy. It is on this template that can drive industrialization and lead to development of Nigeria. It is implied in Abraham Lincoln's famous definition of democracy, which we all know. I think anybody, any little child can always recite for you. Abraham Lincoln said, democracy, he described it as a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We all can attest that we have a government of the people. We can all confirm that we have a government by the people. The missing part of that puzzle is that we cannot say that we have a government for the people. A government for the people feels the pain of the people. A government for the people is diminished when one person dies, an avoidable death. A government for the people sees injury to one as injury to all. Campaigning for office is a government of the people. Swearing you in and holding office is a government by the people. Performance and letting the people have the dividends of democracy is the government for the people. That's Udom's definition. When you campaign, you are government of the people. The day they swear you in, you are government by the people. But the day you deliver that dividend, that's when you become government for the people. This was what agitated my mind when I assumed office as governor in 2015. Before this time, while still in the private sector, I had watched our hopes betrayed in more ways than one, and gradual deterioration of our national infrastructure. There were too many questions and little or no answers to them. Whatever happened to a Jakarta steel mill? What happened to the once thriving Nigerian newsprint manufacturing company in my state, in Okuiboku, that was located there? Why do we have such unmotorable roads? Why are there so many abandoned projects littered across the length and breadth of our country? According to a Senate committee report, the federal and state governments have nearly 12,000 uncompleted projects, which would require about 7.7 trillion naira to complete. It is my candid opinion that if these projects or a significant number of them were completed,
our industrialization drive would have gathered greater momentum, and our nation would have grown on all indices of development beyond where we are today. I think we need to look backwards. As I'm talking right now, you can imagine the aluminum smelter in Ikorobasi that employed thousands of Nigerians is lying completely west. Inside that plant, there's a 500 megawatts of electricity turbine, brand new, nobody is using it. Meanwhile, we're looking for power. These were stark realities that confronted me when I was elected. The task at hand was development, but the tool to achieve that was industrialization and the provision of infrastructure. I was fed up with the description of my state as a purely civil service state, where the only source of employment or income generation was from government and its associated agencies. But today, if somebody asks me, what's your greatest disappointment in this dream? I will just mention one statement. I say it is because I do not control policies. Because if I were to control policies, there are a lot of things I would have done with a policy and not with money, and would have made a whole lot of impact. I wanted to change the narrative, and I recognize that infrastructure and industrialization will be the catalyst for this change. Conscious of that, we made industrialization the central plank of our development, and this was distilled into our 5-point initial governing document of job creation, infrastructural consolidation and expansion, poverty alleviation, economic and political inclusion, and then wealth creation, which today has been condensed into the 8-point completion agenda. And it might interest you to know that even before I get into the office, if I were to bring my laptop, you would have seen the date. I had the blueprint of what I needed to do in government, because you can't get into government by accident. You must plan. A lot of leaders, you need to develop, you need to actually plan to lead. You don't just lead by accident. In doing this, I was conscious of how nations of the world, such as the United States, that I took your permission to use them a whole lot in this, my lecture, were able to rise from an agrarian society as Thomas Jefferson had envisioned to be at independence to an industrial and post-industrial behemoth it has become today. Thomas Jefferson has defined the future of America at that time purely along agrarian lines. He spoke about all men being created equal. For him, they were created to be equal farmers. He likened the farmers to the salt of the earth. And in this 1718 letter to George Washington, he said, I quote him, agriculture is our wisest pursuit because it will, in the end, contribute most to wealth, good morals, and happiness, unquote. He suspected the bank and business persons like me, the mercantilist tendencies, and the trappings of modernity, but he had a counterpoise in their person of Alexander Hamilton. The West Indies immigrant had other plans to move America from an agrarian society to a nation of mercantilist favor, which infrastructure, commerce, and free market approach will lead the way. And all these are not rocket sciences. These are things our people even teach in other places. It's the execution that is our problem. And so, shortly after I was sworn in, fully conscious of where we were going, I set up a technical committee on foreign direct investment and charged them to go all out and sell our states, our areas of comparative advantage, and ensure that through industrialization, we would expand the opportunities of growth for our people, and in the process, change the narratives of our development. We also recognize the fact that the key drivers of industrialization are the quality of infrastructure on the ground, and of course, peace and security, since investors will not go to a place that is unsafe and insecure. I said this when I just did a TV program nationwide. I said that people should be mindful that money is a coward. It does not go to where it feels unsafe. Money is a coward. So security, peace is a panacea to even our development, because we need investors. We just began in our state the strategic and careful plans to provide world-class infrastructure through land, sea, and air Today, ladies and gentlemen, the Akwa Ibom story has become a national story. A state that was once a civil service state today is being described as Nigeria's best kept secret, Akwa Ibom State. We didn't just construct roads. We are not just doing road construction for the sake of it. We have embarked on what I call economically viable roads that will interlock the state in one seamless movement. Today, if you enter Akwa Ibom, I'm sure our internal roads will speak for itself. And we are doing more. We are not there yet. We are doing more. It's ongoing. That's why we are called developing states. So we are not yet developed. We are developing. We can connect the state today from Uyo to Ikorekbene on a dualized thoroughfare to Eket in less than an hour on roads that compare with the best anywhere in the world. It was former American President Dwight Eisenhower who saw the critical role road infrastructure can play in opening up the development of the United States. He saw that the North did not seamlessly connect with the South, especially as the Cold War dawned with the Soviet Union. Thus today, through his visionary approach to development, the vast subcontinent of the United States of America is easily linked through interlocking road network across the 48 contiguous states. The effects of these roads have been chronicled in developmental journals as a testament to vision and the reason why American economy rebounds faster after moments of recession, because they build infrastructure. I don't have much time. I would have also given you an example of Greece, how they build infrastructure during Athens 96 and during the recession in Europe, what happened. In a little over 6 years since we came in, we have constructed or have ongoing over 1,000 kilometers of economically viable roads spread across the 3 senatorial districts of our state. Just 2 days ago, the Senate President, Dr. Ahmed Lawan, was on hand to commission a 25-kilometer federal, what people call federal government road, Uyo Ikorekbene dual carriageway, from the capital city to Ikorekbene in less than, now, a journey that could take you almost an hour or more can now take you just 15 minutes. So tell me why economy of time could not come to play. So you see, the level of economic activities this has engendered cannot be overemphasized. I keep advising my students and telling people that I mentor, I say, whenever you see a man that is time rich, he cannot be cash rich. And any man who is cash rich cannot be time rich. So time is supposed to be managed and not be wasted. In my first time in office, aware of our status as the leading oil and gas producer in this nation, and the poor, almost impassable state of roads between Eket and Ibno, where in the history of the whole world, I don't know how many of you are aware that QIT in Ibno had processed over 15 billion barrels of crude oil, the highest in the whole world. But if you get to that area, before I came into office, there was no road to the place. There was no road. And if you come to Akwa Ibom today, NNPC had not installed one tank, how do you call it, fuel dump, even for, refined products. No presence of NNPC, no presence of DPR, no presence of anything named of any group of that kind. But we have to make sure we see what we can do for ourselves. The main operation axis of ExxonMobil today is in that area. We went about completing that road with messianic zeal. Today, the pain of commuters used to experience in that road have been ameliorated. We are doing same all over the place. Why? Because we want to open the state to economic activities. We did not just make road construction the main area of concentration in our infrastructural drive. Our emphasis was on road A and C. Mind you, I started by saying that the 3 critical gateways to industrialization at any moment, any time, will be road A and C. So that's why we made sure we took care of that 3. Shortly after I was elected in 2015, I gathered a team, a very good team of aviation professionals, and unveiled my vision to establish what would be the first ever state-owned airline in Nigeria and indeed Africa. I gave them my blueprint and charged them to go to work. When we began to talk about the plans for the establishment of the airline, a lot of people sneered at the idea and taunted us as daydreamers. That's what people call us. They say, who are you? Even Nigeria as a country, we don't have it. Ghana does not have. Maintaining that if federal government could not pull off the establishment of Air Nigeria with all the resources at their disposal, how then would we as a state, a mere subnational, pull off such a feat? Of course, we ignored them and went to work. Today, ladies and gentlemen, Udom Air, the product of that vision, has become a national sensation, flying the colors of Akwa Ibom within the Nigerian aviation space, and we're also dominating it. A mere 2 years after its maiden commercial flight, we are dominating it. I told people, when people call me to say, I love your service quality, I said, sorry, we've moved from what I call customer service to what I call customers enthusiasm, so that we can make it work. Udom Air started with just 3 CRJ-900 Bombardier aircraft, and in under a year, increased the fleet to 5. And earlier this year, added 2 new Airbus 220-300 series, thus bringing our fleet to 7, and many more to come. Udom Air is a testament to vision and to professionalism. We are equally embarking upon a total aviation development process that Nigerians will be proud of. Just as Udom Air has become a national sensation, we are simultaneously also building what will, upon completion, become the smartest, most modern airport terminal in Nigeria and indeed Africa. Work is ongoing, and recently a group of veteran journalists from the northern part of this country who visited the state to see things for themselves described it as a project never seen in this country. We are also working on the maintenance, repair, and overhaul hangar. It's a facility within the presence of the airport. And our runway, we've also upgraded, and we're also doing a whole lot more. You can't imagine the whole of West Africa, not even a single MRO. The last time I heard over the news, I think it was the American government that was even trying to help the Ghanaian government on the feasibility study. We are saying no. As a state, we are developing the first MRO, and will be commissioned by next year. Recently also, the Vice President was in our state to commission most of those projects. The 21-story which I've mentioned is also an edifice that was strategically conceived to offer a great piece of real estate for the international oil companies, taking into cognizance our status as the largest oil and gas producer in this nation. You know, there's one simple, permit me, I'm not a student of marketing, but our lecturers in Marketing 101 will tell you that consumption is a function of availability. So once it's available, they will consume. So that's why we had to invite the Vice President, come and help us commission the smartest and the tallest building, the most intelligent in the part of the south side and southeast of this country. And that we did just a few days ago. Ladies and gentlemen, I had earlier said that our strategic approach was to simultaneously work on land, air, and sea infrastructure. A few months ago, the Federal Executive Council graciously approved the commencement of work on our deep sea port, a project that had been dear and close to my heart. When completed, this will be the most modern deep sea port in this country, and is guaranteed to create millions of jobs and the attendant upliftment of the economic status of our people. If Singapore could rise from being a backwater state to an industrialized first world country, Akwa Ibom State stands that chance at the intersection of such a giant leap. If Lee Kuan Yew could do it in Singapore, then I, Udom Emmanuel, by the grace of the Almighty God, and working in sync with my people, would do it in Akwa Ibom State. Industrialization, as I said, was the central plank of our governing agenda. And this we have pursued with zeal and passion. As I always say, it is good for a 21st century leader to have a broad vision and requisite exposure to international best practices. I'm saying this as we go into 2023. Your vision will drive your exposure, they are working in tangential with each other. So it is your exposure that will drive your own vision. So Nigerians should know this. As we are going to 2023, please, we must look at, what do I mean by that? I say your vision is a product of your exposure. So what you have seen elsewhere, how those things work, and how they can be applied in your local environment to benefit your people, is a lived experience and not a learned one. So we should note that as we go into 2023. I didn't come to campaign, but I just dropped a food for thought. Today, because of the contacts we have established across continents and the goodwill we had garnered in the course of our professional careers, we have been able to set the ball rolling for an industrial and infrastructural renaissance of our state. Our state today boasts of the largest syringe manufacturing company in Africa, the Jubilee Syringe Manufacturing Company, which currently produces 1.7 million syringes per day. Recently, it was widely reported that the company will soon begin exporting syringes to Europe and other continents. We have the most digitalized and best flour mill in this nation today, the King's Flour Mill. We have what we call the Lion Plywood Manufacturing Company, still under this regime. If you ask me, why did you start with healthcare and food? Any country, anywhere you see people moving, activities going on, two things they will require: food, after that, medical attention. So that's why we started with syringes that have like a low-hanging fruit. And do you know that Nigeria, we consume not less than 6 billion syringes every year? And how much of that is produced in Nigeria out of the 6 billion? So you can imagine the quantum of foreign exchange that we are using to enrich the Far East, that the quality of their syringes, nothing to compare to our own. Meanwhile, what does it take to make syringes? Polypropylene. The pharmaceutical chemist here will explain to you. So today, we also look at a whole lot in terms of joinery. So we set up what we call Lion Plywood Manufacturing Company. We have the Metering Solutions Company, because the problem with our industrialization now will still remain power, except we do something about it. So we've started. Instead of importation of the metering, these prepaid meters, it's not a rocket science. I'm sure a whole lot of students here can design one. So we started that in our state to manufacture metering solutions which produces prepaid meters, and thereby making it easier for consumers in the state to accurately read their electric bills. We have a functional fertilizer blending plant, because you cannot also talk about agri the way we talk about it and then not producing the inputs. So the easiest way for us, an entry point for us here, is to have a blending plant that can blend to soil and to crop. And that's what we are doing right now. And in the whole region of the South Side, I think that's the only blending plant that we have. It's an American technology that we're actually running right now, which produces the much needed agri input for our own people. Earlier this year, we signed an MOU with the Moroccan counterparts to establish what will be the largest fertilizer and ammonia plant in Nigeria, which by current estimation will not cost anything less than $1.4 billion US. A project that the president had mentioned during his 61st national independence speech. We all heard it. Our state today boasts of numerous rice mills. Before now, we were relying on over here. If we don't come to Abakaliki, we won't buy rice. But now I said no. Let's also set up our own. We also have some rice mills, agro-processing mills. We've started processing cocoa as well. And by the end of this year, I told my people, you know, we love vegetables a lot in my place. I said, these vegetables, farmers are losing value. How can you go to farm? By the time you harvest your tomato, harvest your cucumber, harvest your pepper, if you don't sell in the market, it gets rotten and it's wasted. So the farmer is losing value. And what are we trying to do? We are trying to make sure that anything you don't sell to the market, come and sell to us. We are beginning to do what I call a tomato and a tomato puree by the end of this year, so that nothing will be wasted. What you can't sell in the market, we can process and then can it and then sell it. Those who cannot afford to buy those ones that are canned, we are coming with an invention where we can do a little, you know, the same way the Chinese people came out with what we call a better pass my neighbor. We can also do same, so that different levels of income earners can also be able to make stew. So we are going to manufacture something that a pot of a bachelor's stew can make do with an affordable income. So that's the essence. of bringing this thing home because you can adapt it to suit what I call environment-induced diagnostic, procedures of what we are going to produce for our own people. So that will really also help us. We also set up, you can't believe, before I came into office, something like toothpick were imported. I said, how can? So we had to set up even a toothpick factory. So what does it toothpick take? Raffia palm, just smoothen it and make it hygienic. Pass it through a purification process. It becomes a toothpick. Is that what we're spending currency to import? So we had to start that too. The whole idea is not that we'll manufacture for everybody. The whole idea is a pointer that, look, this is the direction we're supposed to go. Not necessarily that we are able to satisfy the market, but a pointer that, look, we can also do it. It's what I call a can-do spirit, and under our Dakada philosophy. So, in the same way, we've also done plastic manufacturing industries. There's a whole lot of consumption of plastic in Nigeria. So we also set that up in the state. And a company, we also recently, I think last year, we launched a company that produces tissue paper. And what do we use to produce tissue paper? If you drive the whole of South, Southeast, you see bamboo trees everywhere, not planted by man, but planted by God. Do you know what happens? Our people dig it out and, burn it off. Because I learned to, I don't know how far that's true, it's not scientifically proven that it attracts a whole lot of snakes to it. So they dig it out. But now, what happens? If you cut that bamboo, bring it to us, we'll process it and turn it to tissue paper of high quality and standard, which is in process right now. So we are also in the advanced stage of establishing what I call an oil and gas logistics center in the state. So recently also, the federal government has approved for us what I call oil and gas free trade zone. That will also generate a whole lot of, ancillary services in the oil and gas. Perhaps one of the most daring, I say so, one of the most daring innovative industries we have attracted through process of thinking, creativity, and ideas, we didn't see it anywhere in Africa, has been what we call the St. Gabriel Virgin Coconut Oil Refinery, which is a marvel to behold and is expected to enlarge our economic base and showcase our state as an industrial hub. What are we trying to do? We are acquiring almost 11,000 hectares of land, planting coconut. Coconut has 365 uses. 365 uses coconut has. And coconut is something that once you plant, you don't need so much attention. And it can yield for 99 years. So how can we in Africa ignore such, we cannot. So what are we doing? We are now trying to say that if we plant this thing, about 2 million seedlings across the state, and then we set up a refinery that can refine the virgin crude of it, we can export it and we can earn a whole lot of foreign exchange. This project was, again, a product of vision and ingenuity, the capacity to use our comparative advantage in coconut plantation. Because before now, what did we know? Whenever you see coconut, the first thing that comes to people's mind is coconut rice. So we are trying to change from that so that we can actually use it to a more profitable commodity item, the coconut oil. So you see, very soon, we have received the warning over and over again that the much talked about crude oil will soon be of diminishing, value. So it is this time that we need to see how we can diversify. I hope you will find time someday soon to visit our state so that you find out whether what I'm saying is true or not. Recently, we've been visited by University of Lagos, their small and medium scale enterprise faculty. They came with the vice chancellor and we took them around to see whether we're on the right path or not. And not to talk of, we're also building skills development center to train skills that will also run some of these small and cottage industries. The whole idea about these small ones is not just to make profit, it's to still let people know that this is what we need to do. Today, take the case of the nation of Israel, a nation with several challenges of multidimensional nature. Yet Israel has joined the League of Developed Countries, and most of its neighbors are still developing countries. Instructively, Israel is not as wealthy as our neighbors in terms of natural resources. This sentiment was expressed by the former Israeli Prime Minister, Golda Meir, when he said, "Let me tell you something that we Israelis have against Moses. We are all Christians, so we know what we mean. It took us 40 years through the desert in order to bring us to one spot in the Middle East that has no oil. In spite of its resources constraint, Israel successfully changed the narrative of development through industrialization and infrastructure. The flourishing industries in Israel today, not to mention its diversified industrial sector, according to Israeli Israeli Foreign Affairs Minister, were begun as small workshops to manufacture farm implements and process agri-products. By the 70s, our industries were meeting local needs in traditional industries like food processing, textiles, fashion, furniture, pesticides, etc. With government support, the industrial sector blossomed, and this emboldened the government to concentrate on the manufacturing of arms needed for the defense of the country and in aviation. The spin-off of all this investment in industries and infrastructure was the development of a high-tech industry in Israel, which produced today medical devices, electronics, computers, software, hardware, telecoms equipment. In fact, I even learned a Gulfstream 650 engine today is also being manufactured in Israel. Israel's highly qualified manpower compensated for its lack of natural resources and raw materials, and government created a platform for their scientific creativity and technological innovation. I want to take just one more case study, then I'll round off. Take another case study, South Korea, once regarded by the foreign aid establishment as a hellhole of foreign assistance. I'm sure those in the Department of International Relations, they are familiar with that quote. And a bottomless pit. South Korea has transformed itself into a developed economy through industrialization. While most of the developing nations opted to produce goods which would checkmate the importation of goods, South Korea opted to target the exportation of its goods and focus on building industries to achieve this. How did they do it? Number one, they studied Japan's success and adopted 3 strategies. Let me quickly name them. Number one, what did they do? They abolished the multiple exchange rate system and opted for a unitary exchange rate and supported production by industries with comparative advantages. That's what they did. Number two, what did they do? They provided export subsidies and concessions to exporters. That alone provided a whole lot of incentives. Number three, free trade export promotion zones were promulgated and companies encouraged to produce substitutes for import goods in the domestic market. High tariffs were also used to limit import of foreign goods. Simple, not a rocket science. Simple policies, 3 cardinal areas that they concentrated. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see that we are turning our state with the few explanations I've made to what I would call industrial hub, but at the core of the transformation of citizens in the spirit of what I call self-fulfillment. We are making our state a model of a developing economy to make the person the sum of all government efforts. So when we make the coconut oil refinery work as an indicator of the industrial growth, we're empowering the engineer, the salesman, the accountant, the transporter, the farmer, all at once and at the same time. So he or she, like the state itself, an economic unit or a social unit, as well as a propeller of growth, a builder of new lifestyles, an engineer of the pride of the people and culture. That, my friends, is what the new Akwa Ibom is about. Let me conclude with a short story in the Bible. There is a story in the Bible which describes a situation. It is found in 2 Kings, chapter 2, verse 19, where Elisha went to Jericho, and the men of the city came to him. Then the men of the city said to Elisha, "Please notice, the situation in this country is pleasant, and as my Lord sees, but the water is bad, and the ground barren." I unquote 2 Kings 2:19. And he said, "Bring me a new bowl and put salt in it." So they brought it to him. Then he went out to the source of the water and cast in the salt there and said, "Thus says the Lord, I have healed this water. From it there shall be no more death or barrenness in this land." I invite you to notice the situation in our country today. The country is pleasant, but the water is bad. Water is a cleansing agent too. Therefore, the agents who are supposed to cleanse this country, I leave you to fill the gap. They have failed to rid us of the evil that beset us. Elijah's solution was to put salt in the water. And you know, Jesus referred to his followers as the salt of the earth. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to fix the problems of this country, the true believers and agents of change must make themselves available as the cleansing agent of this country. They should be involved in politics. That is why I am in politics. Politics is too serious a business to be left in the hands of professional politicians. We need professionals in politics, not professional politicians. We need courageous and righteous men in politics. We need to go to the source of our problems and fix it like Elijah did. While Israeli scientists and innovators are returning in droves to Israel to better the lot of their country, they are going back to their country. Nigerian scientists and innovators, including academia, are leaving our shores in droves to better the lot of other countries. Why that aberration? In terms of manpower, Nigerians are excelling everywhere. Everywhere you go to. We need to come back home to fix the barrenness of our land. In my state, there's a young man. They call him Uforekon. Google the name, you check. An Akwa Ibom son, he solved a 50-year-old mathematical puzzle in Japan and became an instant celebrity scholar automatically. Dr. Bennett Omalu was the first person to discover and publish on chronic traumatic encephalopathy in American football players. Just as an Akwa Ibom son, Imo Udoka is the first Nigerian American to become the head coach of a major American basketball team, the Boston Celtics. Ime Umana is the first black woman to be elected editor-in-chief of the Harvard Law Review, thus joining the exclusive club of the former editors that include former U.S. President Barack Obama. Helena Ibokwe is the first woman of African descent to become president of Universal Television. The list goes on. You can count. These are capacities that we have. These are the salt we need to add to the water in order to fix our land. These are the salt we need to speed up the industrialization of our country and fix our infrastructure problem. I dare to believe that when Nigerians respond to the plaintive cry in the national anthem, "Arise, O compatriots," Nigeria's call obey, and come with hoes and shovels, computers, hardware, software, wheelbarrows, hammers, and other necessary tools, we will build industries and infrastructure that will change the trajectory of our development for better. We will build infrastructure that will link economically viable federal roads with Calabar-Itu Road, the East-West Road, that links the nation, the rest of the nation, to the economic nerve center of this nation. And also roads in the eastern part of this country, such as the Ling Road, the Taiwan of Nigeria, Aba or Onitsha. It takes me 5 hours to get here from Uyo. And those in the north that can connect our countries and neighbors to the Sahel region. So you can imagine from Uyo to this place, why should I drive for 5 hours? When this is done, I think a new Nigeria, bound in freedom, peace, and unity will be better. I leave that belief with you, and I pray that it will not tarry. If Akwa Ibom State, as a subnational, without control over developmental policies, without control over monetary policies, without control over fiscal policies, could move the needle of development and change the narrative from what was formerly a civil service-oriented state to a fast-developing industrialized entity, we can replicate same nationally. I believe we have the tools, the manpower, and the drive to achieve this. Barack Obama galvanized Americans to rise to the fate of his greatness with a simple but emotionally impactful phrase. What did he say? Yes, we can. We too can dakada, we can rise and show the world that indeed we can change the narrative of our national development through infrastructure and industrialization. The motto of this university is to restore the dignity of man. I am of the opinion that with all hands on deck, contributing our bit to the growth of our country, we can jointly restore the dignity of Nigeria. Thank you for your attention. God bless Akwa Ibom State. God bless University of Nigeria, Nsukka. God bless our dear nation, Nigeria. Thank you for the privilege.
Governor Emmanuel Udom Emmanuel, Nilimine mesro, chafo medio ete, Ete sosomo, Yes, Udo, Shafo Medio, Governor Udom Emmanuel.
The chairman, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much, guest lecturer. That was some lecture. Thank you so very much. The chairman has directed that we take a musical interlude for about 5 minutes. Music department, if you're ready, please do it. Thank you.
Governor Udom Emmanuel, we thank you for
Rosanna Oleli Adikadimba Adule Oleli Adule Oleli Adure Atulumele Makamwa Iwariwo Okay. Wanna fair, Johnny, Emmy wanna fair, Emmy wanna fair, Emmy wanna fair, Emmy wanna fair, Emmy wanna fair. Who knows tomorrow? Only God knows. Oh, hey brother.
Thank you very much, Music Department. Next, we'll take the Goodwill message from the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Governing Council of the University of Nigeria, the High Chief, Ikechi Emenike. I'll make it easier so you can speak from your chair. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, the Chairman of the occasion, the People's General, the Vice. So we might as well run fast. Please permit me to stand on other established protocol. I consider it a personal delight and privilege to be part of this celebration of the 61st Founders Day lecture of this university. Clearly, everybody knows 60th anniversary is the diamond anniversary. And because life expectancy in Nigeria is increasing, there's also a tendency to assume that the 61st anniversary marks the beginning of another era. So it is therefore natural to hope that this year's anniversary, with the quality of the guest lecturer, His Excellency, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, will mark the beginning of the University of Nigeria and Nsukka's renewed rise to another level of greatness. And I'm sure everybody must have been really thrilled and excited with the quality of the lecture. Let me, on behalf of Council, thank you, Your Excellency. So I also wish to congratulate the Vice Chancellor and management of this university for sustaining the great legacy of this university. Of course, you all know Zik of Africa conceived this university. But we also know the Right Honorable Dr. Emmanuel also contributed to the establishment of this university. As a representative of the visitor to this university, the great President Muhammad Buhari, it is my also honor to bring everyone here his greetings and felicitations. I think, quite frankly, I will treasure and keep this lecture. But please, if you listen attentively, you will notice there was a place His Excellency said you should fill gaps. Permit me to just fill only one. Because he mentioned about the deep sea port in Akwa Ibom, which is going to be a pioneering effort. It was approved by President Muhammad Buhari. And also the oil and gas hub. This is very important for people to realize that in spite of the differences in parties, when it comes to development, our parties collaborate. And President Muhammad Buhari does not discriminate once he sees any good idea, any good innovation, and any good project. So it tells us that the spirit of Zik, the spirit of the founding father of this university, which we celebrate, still in some sense lives within Nigeria. And we can only hope that we should be able to deepen it in spite of our whatever political difference we may have. Because the truth is that what should unite us is far greater than those minor things that divide us. It is therefore my hope that the University of Nigeria will march towards greater glory as we look forward to many more anniversaries and milestones to celebrate. May God continue to bless the University of Nigeria and the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you so much.
And thank you very much. And next, we'll cut the anniversary cake. You know, this anniversary cake always challenges me. And when I saw the DVC Enugu campus in the house today, I counted that as an answered prayer. May I invite the DVC Enugu campus, Professor Mrs. Edith Nwosu, to direct the cutting of the anniversary cake. Madam DVC.
The highly respected chairman of today's occasion, His Excellency, the distinguished lecturer, our Pro-Chancellor, my dear Vice-Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, hip hip hooray to the University of Nigeria, the university that remains the primus inter pares. My brother Chima, I didn't know you were going to call me to do this, and I consider it a special honor. May I respectfully invite the distinguished lecturer, His Excellency, to join as the cake is cut this afternoon. He will be led by the head of management, a highly loved Vice-Chancellor and his wife. We'll all go down to get the cake cut. Our Pro-Chancellor, please. The representative of the Chancellor of our university, my Professor Jalil, you're also invited. Our First Lady, you remain First Lady, ma. Emeritus Professor Uche Azikiwe, please, we'll go down and get the cake cut. Thank you. Oh, forgive me, sir. The People's General. J.O.J., sir. Please, sir, forgive me, sir. Thank you, sir. May I ask other principal officers here present to please join? The DVC admin, the registrar, the bursar, the university librarian, please join. The president of the University of Nigeria Alumni Association, my brother Ben Okoronkwo, please join us. I've been asked to make it very short. I'm highly inspired this afternoon. And 61, Isaiah chapter 61, the Spirit of the Lord is not upon me now, it's upon this university. And this Spirit is causing us to preach the good news. But today being the 7th of October, please, when you get home, read Isaiah 61, verse 7, if you love this university. That verse says, for your shame, you will receive a double portion. And so I decree and declare a double portion to this university. For every shame we have suffered, for every setback we have suffered. Our Pro-Chancellor said a new era, a new season has started. And on that, we would cut the cake as we spell double, double, double. Your hands, please. Just touch your neighbor. Don't maintain social distance. Touch your neighbor. Double. D-O-U B L E. Double portion to the university. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. The Vice Chancellor, the Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The guest lecturer made a request to speed things up, and taking liberties, may I invite the Vice Chancellor to make the presentations on behalf of the university right away, right well down here. The one on top is for the guest lecturer. If you can make the presentation. Okay, can we clear the space behind him so that the cameraman, but the more the merrier. Thank you so very much. That'll be nice. That'll be nice. Yes.
Go to the cake. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, this plaque is presented to you on behalf of the Governing Council, Senate Management, and students of University of Nigeria on this occasion of the 61st anniversary of this University of Nigeria. Thank you for your lectures.
And while the guest lecturer was doing the thing, we brought a real-life artist who has made an instant portrait. Can you bring the portrait and let the Vice Chancellor deliver that on behalf of the Vice Chancellor?
Your Excellency, you can see that University of Nigeria is always ahead. And that we're always ahead, and others will be following. And we are following nationally. Not naturally this time, but nationally. This was done while you were giving this lecture. So you can see how great University of Nigeria can be. Congratulations again. The People's General, I know you've been decorated severally. This is not the first decoration, but this is being presented to you from University of Nigeria. Having served as the chairman of the Founders Day lecture of the 61st anniversary of this university, this day, the 7th day of October 2021. Congratulations. Thank you, sir. Yeah. For the general.
And in addition to this.
Wow. Oh my God. Excellent. Can you imagine this? Oh my God.
for the
General.
day. The prof for the day.
Of course, being a lion, I'm sure you are not surprised. You know what lions can do. This is produced within the den. Once again, congratulations, General.
Thank you very much. I think I need to add quickly that I'm so proud of the University of Nigeria, my alma mater. I was just that they had that initiative not to present me in my uniform, but in my traditional regalia. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it.
The chairman, the guest lecturer has requested for permission to leave, and I think you have the powers to grant that, not me. But I request we permit the guest lecturer to leave. So
Let me just make more or less an closing remarks, because there's no way we can have this kind of dish and we don't.
please, let's do it here. Let's do it here, right here.
Your Excellency, Your Excellency, the Chairman of Council, the Vice Chancellor, I am not following any orders, I said, but let me stand on existing protocol because I'm rushed to do this. No. I think I'm still waiting on the VC. I must say, my major concern for the kind of lunch we had this afternoon with His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom, to